Hello followers, in this video, we present to you the latest developments in the Russian-Ukrainian war. Do not forget to press the like button and subscribe to receive all new. Third consecutive day on Saturday. According to a statement by the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Today, Saturday, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense published a photo and video of the effects of the Russian missile bombing that targeted residential neighborhoods in the capital, Kiev, and resulted in several injuries. And the Ukrainian Minister of Health announced that 193 civilians were killed, including 3 children, in battles during the past 3 days, in addition to the injury of 1,115 people as a result of Russian bombing on Ukrainian territory. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Presidential Advisor Mikhailo Podolyak announced today, Saturday, that more than 3,500 Russian soldiers have been killed so far in the war against Ukraine, while about 200 others have been captured. As of this morning, more than 3,500 Russian soldiers have been killed, while we have captured less than 200, Podolyak said, in statements carried by the official Ukrainian news agency Ukrinform on its official website. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said that Russian forces committed another war crime against the civilian population of Ukraine by bombing an apartment building. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said, "We have resisted and succeeded in repelling the enemy's attacks, but fighting continues in many cities and regions, but we know that we are defending the country, the land and the future of the children." And he added in a speech to him a little while ago, "Kiev and the main cities around the capital are under the control of our army. The occupiers wanted to block the center of our state and put our blood here, as happened in Donetsk. We broke their plan." On the other hand, the Russian Defense Ministry announced that its forces had taken control of the city of Melitopol, had destroyed 821 military facilities, and had shot down 7 planes, 7 helicopters and 9 drones in Ukraine. Russian defense spokesman Major General Igor Konashenkov said that the Russian special operation in Ukraine is still going on. He noted that the Russian army managed to take control of the city of Melitopol, and all measures are being taken to ensure the safety of civilians and prevent provocations by Ukrainian intelligence and fanatical nationalists. The Russian ministry also announced that its forces had taken control of the city of Melitopol, had also destroyed 821 military facilities, and had shot down 7 planes, 7 helicopters and 9 drones in Ukraine. The Border Directorate of the Russian Federal Security Service recorded 3 120mm shells fired from Ukrainian territory in the Melrovsky district on the outskirts of the Rostov region, the FSB statement said. The Security Council failed to pass a draft resolution condemning the Russian military operations against Ukraine, as the Russian veto dropped the American draft resolution in the Security Council, after the members of the Security Council received the draft resolution on Ukraine. Regarding international reactions to the continuation of the war on Ukraine, French President Emmanuel Macron said that the Russian-Ukrainian war will be prolonged and that preparations must be made for that. For its part, the Czech government agreed to send weapons and ammunition worth $8.6 million to Ukraine, while the media reported that the Netherlands intends to send 200 American Stinger anti-aircraft missiles to Ukraine as soon as possible. U.S. President Joe Biden also directed Secretary of State Anthony Blinken to release up to $350 million in immediate security and defense support in Ukraine, according to a new memo released by the White House. And the American channel, CNN, reported on Saturday that this comes in the wake of a phone call between the U.S. president and his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, on Friday, which lasted for about 40 minutes. During which they discussed material defense aid. And French media reported, today, Saturday, that the French Navy had intercepted a Russian ship in the English Channel. The AFP news agency quoted sources in the French Navy. A Russian ship was arrested in the English Channel, suspected to be owned by a company targeted by sanctions. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the start of a military operation in the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine, whose independence Russia recognized a few days ago and concluded with its leaders a friendship agreement, coinciding with the start of the military ground movement in Ukrainian cities during the past hours. Putin said that his country does not intend to occupy Ukraine, but rather to protect the Donbas region, which includes the republics of Donetsk and Luhansk, warning against any external interference in Ukraine and at the same time calling on the Ukrainian army to lay down its arms. According to news reports, two major explosions were heard early Sunday in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. U.S. news network CNN reported that one of these explosions appears to have occurred about 20 kilometers from downtown Kyiv. United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken researched with his Canadian counterpart, Melanie Joly, and his South Korean counterpart, Chung Eui-yong. Russian military operation in Ukraine. Details U.S. President Joe Biden's announcement of additional sanctions and new restrictions on what could be exported to Russia. In Saturday's statement, the United States Department of State stated that Blinken appreciated Canada's close coordination on the strong response to sanctions and unequivocal support for Ukraine, as well as South Korea's condemnation of the Russian military operation in Ukraine and its support for efforts to ensure the stability of oil and energy markets. Last night, the United States announced sanctions against Russian President Vladimir Putin, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Armed Forces Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov against the backdrop of the Russian military operation in Ukraine. In a related context, the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States, Wendy Sherman, spoke by telephone today with Swiss Foreign Minister Livia Liu, the Hungarian Deputy Foreign Minister Levente Magyar and the Deputy Secretary-General of NATO. NATO, Mircea Guyana, Secretary-General of the External Action Service of the European Union, Stefano Sannino, Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs of Poland Marcin Przitasz, representing the current OSCE presidency, and advisor to the Office of the Secretary-General of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, AL, developments. The telephone talks confirmed full support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, calling on Russia to immediately cease the military operation, withdraw its forces and pursue diplomacy in order to avoid further escalation. Ukraine rejected the Russian offer to hold talks in Belarus, and the Ukrainian president said that talks in Minsk could have been accepted if Ukraine had not been attacked from Belarus by a Russian attack, according to news from Sky News. The spokesman for the Kremlin, Dmitry Peskov, reported on Sunday that the Russian delegation had arrived in Belarus for talks with Ukrainians. According to Russia's website today, Peskov stated that the delegation included representatives from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Defense and other departments, including the Presidency administration, and added, "We will be ready to start these negotiations in June." Russian military operations announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin on Ukrainian territory have been ongoing since last Thursday, with Sunday entering its fourth consecutive day and the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv today witnessing Russian rocket bombings of residential neighborhoods, resulting in physical and human casualties, according to a statement by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said on Sunday that his country would supply arms to Ukraine through NATO allies in Europe. Morrison, in a statement in the Australian newspaper Sydney Morning Herald, said, "We are already providing substantial support in terms of simple assistance, but I have just spoken to Defence Minister Peter Dutton and will seek to provide any weapons support through our NATO partners, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom." The Australian Prime Minister explained that NATO channels were the most effective way to expand the military support his country had initially announced yesterday, noting that they were already providing support in these areas and would help them do what they did.